Let's talk about a power play here. Let's find a way to actually, if you want to increase your credit score, let's say by 50 points or 100 points in 90 days, it is totally possible by using your credit card. So into this conversation, I really want to dig a little deeper and really explain to you how to use your credit card to actually increase your credit score. So here's an overview I want you to pay attention to. So if you want to really increase your credit score through a credit card, first thing you want to pay attention to your payment history. It's really important. I mean, a lot of folks believe that, if I pay my credit card on time every month, blah, 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 and I'll be fine. But it's way more than that. When we talk about credit history, when we talk about payment history, we are speaking about you having a clear strategy in terms of paying your open balances. For example, every 28th of the month, you're currently paying your credit card, maybe on the 28th or the 25th or whatever, right? What if you started paying 3-4 times a month instead of paying once a month? You're basically trying to spread out the payment over 3 times or 4 times. I guarantee you this will actually increase your credit score big time. So it's really important when we talk about payment history, we're speaking about what? The frequency. Remember that for all intents and purposes, your payment history accounts for 35% of your FICO score. So the very first credit card hack to increase your credit score is to actually have a series of automated, I would say, weekly payments. Okay, so you can actually, as long as you pay more than twice a month, you are good to go. Why? Because your credit card issuers or your lenders, they report to the credit bureaus multiple times during the month, right? So because you have no idea about the schedule, it's just a lot better to say, okay, instead of waiting for once a month, I'm going to do this 3 or 4 times a month. So basically, this is very important. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here to have this quick convo with you today about credit card hacks to increase your credit score. So the first credit card hack is to actually pay attention to your payment history. You want to pay 3 or 4 times during the month, not once a month. The second thing you want to pay attention to is your credit utilization. So basically, you want to maintain a low utilization rate. In other words, you want to make sure that whatever you charge on the card, you actually pay as much as possible before the end of the cycle. This is very important to pay attention to if you are trying to use your credit card to increase your credit score. Is to just think about time. So timing is important. So the length of credit history will play a positive role in your credit score. So sometimes so when we talk about time, so if you're 18 years old, if you're 25 years old, you can't really force time, but you can do something better. Instead of having one credit card, you can have 3 or 4 credit cards. Okay, so let's say you're 18 or you're 20 or you are 21, you are a young adult and you try to increase the length of your credit history. If you have one credit card, try to have another one, a third one, or a fourth one. And when we're talking about credit cards, you don't have to open unsecured credit cards. You can have secured credit cards, because the whole thing here is that you are trying to have as many credit cards as possible. So, the hack here is to find ways to lengthen your credit history. Now, when it comes to lengthening your credit history, you have to open other credit cards, but you also have to just wait for time. I mean, you can't really force it, just wait. And the thing here, but while you're waiting though, you have to make sure that you are making payments on time, because the length of your credit history accounts for 15 to 20% of your credit score. So this is an important element that you have to pay attention to. By the way, boss, I just want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about credit card hacks to increase your credit score. See, here we are targeting 90 to 100 points in 100 days. So don't listen to people telling you can increase your credit score by 90 points within 30 days. It ain't happening. They just lying to your face. They're trying to razzle dazzle you. It's not going to happen. It's good. It may be good for YouTube views or whatever, but it doesn't happen in real life that way. You cannot increase unless you have like some kind of let's say derogatory items that you are able to remove. Then your credit score will go up. Otherwise, it takes time. And another thing I want you to pay attention to in terms of credit score, if you want to increase your credit score, is to actually pay attention to your credit mix. So your credit mix is kind of cool, because when we talk about credit cards, for example, you can actually have secured credit cards and unsecured credit cards. So you have a diversity. So when you have, because credit cards in general are revolving lines of credit. So there's nothing you can do, but if you can maybe have a loan, a secure loan to go with it, this could be also great. I want to talk to you about how to increase your credit score without a credit card. So I just explained to you how to increase your credit score with a credit card, right? Now let's talk about how to use other means to increase your credit score. Because the bottom line here is that if you're listening to me right now, it just means that you are trying to increase your FICO score. So there are other ways to increase your FICO score. The first thing you want to do here is to think about something called credit builder loan. So a credit builder loan. A credit builder loan is a great option if you're trying to increase your credit score without a credit card. So the thing is that a credit builder loan could be worth considering, because with a credit builder loan, the lender holds the loan proceeds in the separate account. So you make payment to the lender based on the terms of your loan agreement, often for around 12 months. The payments you make over the principal balance of the loan, interest plus any fees the lender charges. So once you make the final payment, the lender shall release the loan proceeds to you plus any interest you may have earned, if applicable. Okay, so this is really wise to choose a lender that reports to all three credit bureaus. So if you do, you have an opportunity to establish payment history with Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. So be sure to pay on time, because late payments could hurt your credit scores instead of helping them. So let me give you an example. Let's say right now you got a credit builder loan from Chase. Now Chase is not giving a personal loan as of now, but just imagine. So what will happen here is that if you have a credit builder loan, so Chase will say, okay, we agree to have a credit builder loan for $10,000, and you'll be paying like but Chase is not giving you the $10,000 right now. They're putting the cash in another account. So you have to make payments as if you had received the $10,000, right? So over 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, at the end of the repayment window, after you have paid Chase everything, that's when Chase will return the funds to you. But in the meantime, Chase would have reported your payments to the credit bureaus, thereby establishing for you, or helping you establish credit history. So this is it's going to reverse. When we talk about credit builder loan, it's a reverse loan, in the sense that you don't get the proceeds. You get the proceeds at the end of the repayment window. So it is really good. Another way to actually establish to increase your credit score without a credit card is to do it through other loans. See, we're talking about loans. So when we mention loans, we're speaking about non-revolving credit products, right? So other types of loans can help you increase your. So for instance, you have student loans, right? So you have auto loans, you have mortgages. All those can actually help you build good credit over time, especially if you make a habit of paying your credit obligations on time every single month. That's why I was just telling you earlier that it's important to be consistent. Okay, it's not a great idea in our view to go into debt for the purpose of building credit alone. So there is nothing wrong with using an auto loan to finance a vehicle you need, but you shouldn't borrow money just because you want to add a trade line to your credit report, right? But what I'm trying to say here is that please be very careful in terms of your level of indebtedness. Very important. By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about credit card hacks to increase credit score. So I've given you all the 4 hacks that could really help you out, but now I'm just giving you other ways to increase your credit score without a credit card. So you also have you can use utilities, phone bills, and rent to actually increase your credit score, because some types of accounts do not typically show up on credit reports. So utility bills, mobile phone bills, and rent payments all fall into this category. So if you are paying these accounts each month, you might not be getting credit for those good financial habits. But the cool thing here is that nowadays you have a lot of players in the industry. You have a Isuzu, you have a Rent Builder. You have a lot of players who actually can help you. They will report your rent to the credit bureau, so you can basically establish credit. You can establish credit history, or you can establish credit worthiness through your rent, through your utility bills, and everything else. So this is really good. But one thing I want to say is that be very careful about how long those providers will report your data to the credit bureaus, and also you want to go for a provider who will report your data to all 3 credit bureaus, because some providers they will only report your data to TransUnion, to Experian, or Equifax, like maybe 1 or 2. But some you want to go for those providers who will report your data to all 3 credit bureaus. let me give you a bonus here. So if you're still with me here, I just want to talk to you about when you should pay your credit card to increase your credit score, because I was just telling you before that you want to pay your credit card as many times, as often as possible, like 3 or 4 times during the month, so that you can increase your chances of having your data being reported appropriately. It's really important to understand that, so if you pay, first of all, if you pay your credit card on time, this has a big impact, big impact, because on-time payments can help you establish a good payment history. So we're talking about what, 35%. 35% of your FICO score basically comes from your good payment history. But the thing here is that if you are paying your credit card bill early, it might help you earn a higher credit score, because paying before the statement closing date on your account has the potential to lower the credit utilization rate that shows up on your credit report. Remember, your lower CUR is better from a credit score standpoint, right? So these things go, there is an inverse relationship between your credit score and your CUR, your credit utilization ratio. So if your credit utilization ratio goes down, automatically your credit score will go up. I mean, all things held constant, right? All other things held constant. One thing I want to say here is that it's one of those things you have to do over time to see results. What I'm trying to say is, if you pay your credit card bill early this month, you're not going to see a result like an uptick on your credit score right away. You might see it next month, or you might see it 3 months, like 2 months down the road. So sometimes it takes a while, especially if one uptick is actually being offset by another downtick. Like, let's say you have an increase that has been that's really been offset by a decrease. So you got to really think about the interplay between the different items that impact your credit score. And also, the thing here is that sometimes you have to understand that some providers, some credit card issuers, do not report data to the credit bureaus. Some might skip 1 month or whatever. So it's just one of those things where you have to constantly look at what's really happening with your account at all those providers. Now, the thing here is that sometimes when we talk about credit card hacks to increase credit score, some people are asking whether you should when you should start building credit with a credit card. So we live in a society where you got to have a credit card, right? When you're 18 years of age, you got to have a credit card, or even before you turn 18, your parents should have put you as an authorized user on their credit cards, right? So you gotta have a credit card, because a credit card is really the easiest way to start establishing credit. Like, it's a lot easier to get than to get a personal loan, simply because the amounts are smaller, and it's a lot easier. Like, you're more likely to use your credit card more often than a personal loan. A personal loan, the requirements might be a little higher. And so what I want to say here is that it really makes sense to start building credit with a credit card as soon as possible. So if you're 18 or you're 21, you want to start building credit as soon as possible. Or if you just let's say your foreclosure or your bankruptcy was discharged, you want to go back to the FICO game as soon as possible. The earlier the better. And when we talk about building credit with credit card, you don't forget that you can use also secured credit cards. You can use student credit cards. You can use alternative credit cards, like you have some debit cards that actually act as credit cards. So what I'm trying to say here is you have a variety of tools that can help you build credit, and those tools act as credit cards, and you need that. So don't forget that you can also be an authorized user on somebody else's credit card, right? And it doesn't matter, because the thing is, when we talk about being an authorized user, some viewers believe that you have to be 18 to actually qualify for an authorized user. No. You can be 25, you can be 45, you can be 55, and be an authorized user on somebody else's card. And it's all about the person who's authorized user, what kind of FICO score or FICO situation that person does have. What I'm trying to say here is that if you have a 55-year-old who just filed for bankruptcy and is currently around 325 or 350 in FICO score, that person should be willing to take whatever he or she has to take to be able to bump up the credit score, right? So you be very careful there in terms of the cars that you want. Now, one thing I want to say here is that as you're trying to really build credit with the credit card, you want to pay attention to the type of credit card that you need, right? Do you want a rewards credit card? Do you want, let's say, do you want a cashback credit card? Do you want a 0% intro credit card? So you got to be really careful about the kind of card that you need, because if you want to increase your credit score, you have to be willing to use the card. Because if you don't use the card, you can't increase your credit score. So be careful about how you go about choosing your card. If you're under 18, then you need your parents to actually help you make a decision. But if you are older than 18, then what you want to go back to the origin, so to speak. So you want to ask yourself, what is my what kind of credit cards do I need? What is my lifestyle like? And the thing is that, am I still in school or am I working full time? Because the thing is, there is a difference, a big difference between the time when you were working versus the time when you were actually living by your parents. Okay, in terms of financial strategy, and your financial strategy will actually impact your life very soon. So it's one of those things you want to pay attention to. But at the end of the day, you want to start with institutions you already know. So if your bank already has a relationship with, let's say, Wells Fargo, and you are 18 or you're 17 years old, ask your parents to actually have for you an account with Wells Fargo. So that account will actually help you out in terms of having enough, let's say, having enough leeway when it comes to helping you reach your financial decisions faster. And your FICO score is an important element when it comes to your financial situation. And one thing I also need to say before closing today's conversation is that you need to understand that sometimes you might actually want some of your clients to be in a certain situation, and the reality is totally different. What I'm trying to say, for example, is, let's say you want to build credit with a credit card, right? You get your preferred credit card, let's say a cashback credit card from Chase, but your family situation is in a different space right now where you can't really use the card. And so if you can't use the card, then you can't really build credit, but you might be paying some fees. Okay, so those are elements I want you to think about before actually committing to anything, or before actually you can think about committing to anything. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just speaking to you about credit card hacks to increase your credit score. I gave you the overview, the steps, the bonus, and I want to thank you wholeheartedly for your attention. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.